was left by accident. If you see something, say something.
I don't think that private institutions have control over nation's currency.
We need a manufacturing base, and then our economy will take off like a rocket again.
A special televised meeting of the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations provides a window to the real story. The speaker, Vice President Dick Cheney, takes a question from David Rockefeller.
Vice President, I just enjoyed so much your whole speech, but I was particularly pleased that you gave such a strong endorsement for the free trade agreement for all the Americans. Subject that has been of great concern to me for many years, and particularly recently, and I think it's absolutely essential for the strength of our economy.
The government's Fast and Furious program obviously blew up in their face, with now a growing number of ATF agents going on the record of being ordered to allow illegal gun sales and allow illegal trafficking of guns to Mexico, the very thing that they are actually sworn to stop, under the guise of saying that this would be a way that they could track these guns to the big drug cartels, supposedly. Now, who are these big drug cartels and who's behind it? Where does the money go? It's always follow the money, as in Watergate and all these other conspiracies, and that's what they are, real conspiracies to, in this case, attack the Second Amendment. Clearly, the real goal would have been to, first of all, bring the guns into drug areas, have them show up in America through violence and border violence. Remember, over 30,000 people since 2007 have been killed at the border of Mexico and the United States in border violence and drug-related violence. It's not very well reported, especially in the Northeast, but certainly if you live in Texas or anywhere down there, Arizona, you certainly know what I'm talking about. Of course, this entire act was done to put the guns in the drug runners' hands, the drug dealers, who again are in league with these globalist influences, these criminals who have hijacked our government and are in league with the banks. Remember, Wells Fargo and Wachovia, all under $330 billion of drug money, got a slap on the wrist, $230 million fine, and it'll just continue. It's just, they're just allowed to, this is it, this is the hierarchy. The drug war is a fraud. Immigration is running wild. They're allowing everybody to come across into this country, bringing down the wages of Americans. With the money we're spending on the wars, we could protect our borders, we could pay off our debts, and then some, and get some real change. Give the people what the people deserve, which is to protect their liberty, which is the real government's purpose, is to basically protect the people's freedom, not corporations whose only lust is war, profits. After the assassination attempt of Ronald Reagan and the Brady Bill, the obvious globalist attempt to have laws to restrict or reduce Americans' rights to bear arms or to eliminate them, that is actually their goal. And from the Brady Act, which again then led through to Clinton's 1993, the first thing he did as president basically was to attack the assault weapons, putting in the assault weapons ban. Somehow there was all this crime going on, probably from all the drugs that they put into, that Clinton allowed to come through Arkansas when he was governor, and all the cocaine that flowed like water in the State House, and the state police and other affiliations. This is all on record if you look closely enough. The CIA, of course, had drug running operations. The drug war is a farce. Okay, like this gun war, the guns, attack the gun ban. So anyway, Clinton, the first thing he did was attack this, along with a midnight basketball and never to be fulfilled promises of 100,000 new police officers. It quickly became part of an effort to transform the concern for public safety into a political issue. Of course, not everybody in America can buy a firearm. Felons, drug addicts, illegal aliens, and fugitives from justice. Illegal aliens. Interesting.
The government have contributed to this violence by intentionally allowing thousands of guns to be trafficked from U.S. to Mexico. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives decided to let thousands of guns walk after being purchased by straw buyers intent on reselling them. Many of those guns ended up in the hands of bandits who operate on the border, trafficking drugs and other illicit goods back to our country. This ill-conceived policy has clearly affected the lives of countless individuals who may have been victims of crimes perpetrated as a result of letting guns into the hands of criminals. Agents on the ground were ignored when they questioned the wisdom of this decision. And that just seems to pour salt on the wounds of the families who lost loved ones. Are you aware that one of your Immigration and Customs agents was working on this case out of Phoenix called Operation Fast and Furious? And if so, when and how did you learn about it?
I'm not aware of that, a particular agent. I am aware of the ATF operation generally, and have become aware in the wake of the murders of Agent Terry and Agent Zapata.
Did anyone ever express concern to you about the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms purposely allowing gun traffickers to purchase through straw buyers, and if so, what did you know about it?
No concerns were expressed to the Secretary.
We have 2 Border Patrol agents who are dead, who were killed by guns that were allowed, as far as we can tell, to deliberately walk out of gun shops. When did you first know about the program, officially I believe called Fast and Furious? To the best of your knowledge, what date?
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
Now that you've been briefed on it, the President has said on March 22nd that you didn't authorize it. Did your Deputy Attorney General James Cole authorize it?
I'm sorry, the
Deputy Attorney General James Cole?
I didn't hear. Did he?
Did the Deputy Attorney General authorize it?
My guess would be no. Mr. Cole, I don't think was in the. I don't think he was in the department at the time that operation started.
But he's been aware of it much longer.
Been aware of it much longer
than you have, since you've only been aware of it a few weeks. How about the head of the criminal division,
sure.
Lanny Brewer? Did he authorize it?
I'm not sure whether Mr. Brewer authorized it. I mean, you have to understand the way in which the department operates. Although there are operations, this one has gotten a great deal of publicity.
Yeah, they're dead Americans as a result of this failed and reckless program. So I would say that it hasn't gotten enough attention, has it, Mr. Attorney General?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's an investigation that is underway.
We believe that he was aware of it much earlier than he said in his testimony and questioning before the Judiciary Committee.
And redeploying 100 personnel to the southwest border in the next 45 days to fortify its Project Gunrunner, which is aimed at disrupting arms trafficking between the United States and Mexico. ATF is doubling its presence in Mexico itself, from 5 to 9 personnel working with the Mexicans specifically to facilitate gun tracing activity which targets the illegal weapons and their sources in the United States.
We have an extraordinary follow-up to the story that we broke last week with allegations that ATF agents who are supposed to stop guns from crossing the border into Mexico were instead ordered to let them cross. The idea, we're told, of supervisors to this controversial tactic called letting guns walk was that if the guns showed up in the hands of crime scenes at drug cartels in Mexico, perhaps this would help them gather intelligence and make it fast, not just of the smaller gun runners, but actually of the major drug cartels.
If you buy that, I have bridges to sell you, America. Come on. Our government is, they're criminals. The people running the show. These are criminals protected by the government. Do you understand that?
The agents who objected within their own agency were repeatedly rebuffed. They were told to keep their mouths shut, to stop complaining about it. In one case, we have an internal email that describes a supervisor telling somebody, if you don't like it, you can go work for the Maricopa County Jail. If this isn't fun to you, then you can find something else to do.
John Dodson, a federal agent, says what he was asked to do was beyond belief.
You were intentionally letting guns go to Mexico.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the agency was.
An alcohol, tobacco, and firearms senior agent assigned to this Phoenix office since 2010, Dodson's job is to stop gun trafficking across the border. Instead, he says he was ordered to sit by and watch it happen.
Agent Dodson and other insiders say the gun-walking strategy was approved all the way to the Justice Department. The idea was to see where the guns ended up, build a big case, and take down a major cartel. And it was all kept secret from Mexico.
ATF named the case Fast and Furious. This surveillance video obtained by CBS News shows suspected drug cartel suppliers carrying boxes of weapons to their cars at a Phoenix gun shop. Documents show the inevitable result. The guns ATF let go began showing up at crime scenes in Mexico. And as ATF stood by, watching thousands of weapons hit the street, the Fast and Furious Group supervisor noted the escalating Mexican violence. 958 killed in March 2010, the most violent month since 2005. The same email notes, our subjects purchased 359 firearms during March alone, including numerous Barrett 50 caliber rifles.
Did you feel that ATF was partly, perhaps, to blame for the escalating violence in Mexico and on the border?
Yes, ma'am. I even asked them if they could see the correlation between the two. The more that our guys buy, the more violence that we're having down there.
Senior agents, including Dodson, told us they confronted their supervisors over and over.
And what was the answer? What did they say?
If you're going to make an omelet, you're going to scramble some eggs.
If you don't think this is fun, you're in the wrong line of work. Maybe the Maricopa County Jail is hiring detention officers, and you can get $30,000 to serve lunch to inmates.
We just knew it wasn't going to end well. There's no way it could.
Then, on December 14, 2010, Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was gunned down. 2 assault rifles ATF had let walk nearly a year before, similar to these, were found at Terry's murder.
I felt guilty. I mean, it's crushing.
You've tried to get some answers from ATF. What's been the response?
The response has been practically zilch. From the standpoint that documents we want, we have not gotten them. And I think it's a case of stonewalling.
Dodson says he hopes that speaking out helps the family of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. They haven't been told much of anything about his murder or where the bullet came from.
And what did they say was the reason that they were taking away your badge after 24 years and many years of exemplary reports of your work at ATF?
The basic underpinning was lack of candor, which is totally fabricated, and several other allegations regarding conduct that apparently occurred 4 or 5 years ago. I'm really not clear on all that. The attorneys are reviewing it now.
Let's take a look at the ATF statement that they produced to FoxNews.com when they were asked that question about why you were being let go. It says ATF will not comment on specific ongoing personnel matters, and it is legal to use disciplinary actions to retaliate against employees, and ATF does not engage in such improper reprisals. But you, in fact, are the person who brought attention to the Fast and Furious program and to the fact that weapons were basically being put in the hands of people who gave them to cartels, and that 2 of those guns, in fact, were found at the scene of ATF border agent at his death, Brian Terry, correct?
That is correct. I was instrumental in fact, formulating the idea to stand up a website to expose the across-the-board mismanagement in ATF.
And what made you do that, Vince? What made you do that? What prompted that?
Outcries from hundreds of agents across the country when my original dispute started, and I realized that there was no mechanism in the government, any mechanisms that there were to communicate with senior management and report abuses were broken, and the leadership continually disregarded our reports, our allegations, no matter how well we substantiate them with documentation. They're well documented, by the way.
And you know, as you know, the president and Eric Holder have basically said that they had no knowledge of this Fast and Furious program. We're still trying to figure out who authorized this program because, as you say, yourself and many, many agents on the ground thought that this was a crazy way to go about this. And that
smells like the CIA to me. It also smells like an attack on the Second Amendment. If this worked well, the Mexicans would be killing more people, more violence.
I feel instrumental in doing my job. That's all I ever wanted to do. We don't cheat to win. We play by the rules. And when our leadership chose to not play by the rules, people stepped forward. Agent Dodson, Agent Gill, all the people who have come out front and put themselves in a position. So the agency had to identify the poster boy. Watch what happens to Vince Shefflu before you consider stepping forward.
What are you going to do now?
Again, my attorney is on it. I'm going to continue to state the truth. That's all I can do, is make sure that people are held accountable.
Vince, like many agents, are part of a chilling effect of, can they stop people from leaking, from telling, from posting a website? They may have done Vince a favor because now he's very free to promote and push more openness and transparency by the very agents who want to come forward. You know, Martha, I haven't had a single agent at any level in ATF, including all the way up to the acting director, Melson, who didn't want to talk to us. This really is not a story about the ATF where they seem to understand that this was wrong. It seems to be a story about justice and the cover-up of who really authorized this program, who actually thought it was a good idea. Because we found very few agents that even a little bit called it a good idea. And you mentioned my trip to Mexico. In Mexico, we discovered that the ATF agents, the U.S. ATF agents, were completely in the dark. There was even a cover-up that prevented them, when they found a Fast and Furious weapon,
this is their protocol.
Sold,
compartmentalization.
That. So when you hear that the Mexican officials were involved,
for the New World Order,
nothing could be further from the truth. Even
not
the
even
U.S.
know
agents were never told.
Very interesting.